Friends, I am so glad you're with me today because you get to be a fly on the wall as I talk with Jen about her home design. She hired me to help her with her living room and her dining room. Her and her family had been living in this new home for about a year. They took their old furnishings with them and they didn't feel quite right. In fact, they'd been living with these same things for about 15 or so years, and they were ready for a change, especially as they moved into this new space. But she wasn't entirely sure she knew where to start. So, cue Fig and Farm at Home, we gladly came in, had a conversation with Jen and her family about what it was that inspired them, what it was that delighted them, what it was that they wanted to have represented in their home. So what you're going to hear is me talking with Jen about the rationale for their design, why it was we were choosing some of the things that we were, explaining the inspiration piece or pieces in her case, and how we were going to tie a bully into the room if we wanted to. What you don't see is the digital presentation. Jen received 4 visual mood boards that allowed her to see the product in her space, so she could literally see the dining room table and the chairs and the rug that was mentioned with it. She could literally see the couch, the pillows, all of the textiles that were going into place, the artwork on the mantle. She could see it all. And the best part, Jen skipped the entire process that most all of us get stuck in. That process of driving to the store, spending hours standing, staring at what we think might be a good choice, maybe buying it, spending the money, bringing it home and realizing, crud, I don't like that. Or I still don't know if it looks good. She skipped that entire process. And how did she do that? She did that by hiring me to help her understand what it was that she was looking for that she didn't know she was looking for. We spent a little bit of time getting to know each other, learning about her space, the needs of her family, the things that tell her family's story, talking about her budget, really getting an idea for what it was they used the space for, and then designing around that. Friends, I hope you are inspired by this presentation I'm sharing with Jen. I hope you are inspired to make change in your home. And if you are, and if you've been sitting on the fence for a while, thinking, I want to get started, I'm thinking about getting started, I really want to think about asking that question, how do I get started? How do we work together? I encourage you to listen to the end, because today, friends, is Heart Day. And I heart all of you who spend your time with me week in and week out, who leave reviews, who ask questions, who engage in the Facebook group. And I have a little gift, a little special something for all of you. So stick around to the end, get inspired by the conversation, get inspired by the design I'm presenting to Jen, and be ready to take action. All right, friends, enjoy today's show. We grew up with the phrase, home is where the heart is, but our culture has shifted and now the message is, home should be Pinterest perfect. I'm calling BS on that message. Home, it's not about the stuff, it's about the story. And whether you know it or not, your home is a reflection of you and is already saying something. So what is it that you want it to say? Hey, I'm Danny, a former first grade teacher turned home decorator. Going from a dual income to a single income so I could stay home with my babies meant budget, like ramen eating, Goodwill shopping budget. And I learned a few things along the way, like how to bring big style to your home without breaking the bank. And I'm sharing it all with you. Tips, tricks, decor, and design advice so you can learn to tell your story with your style, where you can start living free from the Pinterest perfect trap and start living a life of intention. Welcome to Fig and Farm at Home, where we design happy living and where it doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful. Hello, you guys. I have been loving putting your design together, and I wanted to share it with you this way because there are a few things I want to note as we go forward so that you can see what I see, I hope, and we can start making decisions from there. So, one of my boys asked me recently, do I ever get jealous when I'm designing someone else's home? And that was such a good question. I don't normally, but knowing that we have very similar, some of the interests like visiting national parks and things, as I was picking some of your product, I kept thinking, oh, this is so cool. How can I make that work in my home? So anyway, I hope you like it. What you're going to see are two design boards for the living room. You're also going to see two design boards for the dining room. Um, Now, you guys purchased the full service package, which is really, really good, especially for you guys. And I'll explain why in a second. But so what you'll see in the pictures, you're not going to see the teeny tiny little nuances of design. You're not going to see, how the shelves are styled or that kind of thing. That's where I'm going to come in and I'm going to pick products specifically for you later. But two things I want to address before I show you the boards is that your home is so lovely. It is lovely. And I generally, almost always, I would say 99.999% of the time, recommend curtains for every project I do because it adds layers and depth and texture, and it just creates kind of that coziness. And I didn't do it for you guys, and I didn't do it intentionally because I am loving the modern feel and flow of your space. But that is an easy fix. We can always do that. And I am happy to tell you what kind of curtains I would get, and get the rods for you as well. But one thing to keep in mind if we do that is that I would recommend having your curtains go probably above that, even that little transom. And so those are going to get a little bit pricey. But I don't think you need them, which I shocked myself in not recommending them. But one thing that is happening in your home's design is you have those lovely modern cupboards and the little sideboard in the dining room. And it is all really very, very pretty. It's all very modern. And the metal on the handles make it look fancy. I'm just going to say fancy. It just makes it look fancy. And I know I asked Jen, I asked you what you thought about maybe the possibility of changing the handles. And you're going to hear why in just a second. So keep that in the back of your mind. It is not a recommendation on any of the boards, but I do want you to keep it in mind as I share with you why I think we might want to go that route eventually, or someday, or maybe never. I don't know. But keep that in mind. The other thing that when I'm choosing or I'm starting designs, I always start with an inspiration piece. For you, you had two. One were all of these lovely national park posters that you had framed. And I love that because design is all about telling your family story and telling it really, really well. And you guys love nature. You love going and visiting these parks. And we want to highlight that without having kitschy things, right? And you don't have them, but we want to make sure that we kind of extend that and can elevate that look in any of the designs we do. The other inspiration piece you guys had is that really beautiful TV console. And that is so pretty. I think is it teak? I wasn't sure, but I could see the iron detail legs. And so we're going to be drawing on that piece as a way to kind of flow throughout the rest of the space. Because here's what's happening with that piece. The key to really good design, the key to cohesive design, and when you have an open floor plan, you do want to have that cohesiveness happening from room to room to room. Like you could literally pick up one piece from the living room and put it in the dining room and it would make sense. That's kind of the idea. But that TV console all by itself is acting like a bully. Even though it is beautiful, it is a beautiful bully. And it's a bully because it is commanding and demanding attention from us, the viewer, in a negative way. And we don't want it to be negative. You love that piece and it's gorgeous. And so we want to make sure that it is playing nicely with the rest of the things we bring into your space. And so you're going to see some elements that I'm bringing in to do that, but we need to make sure we tie that into the kitchen, which isn't part of our design, but I'll give you some ideas for how we can do that, as well as the dining room. And we want to make sure that there's I usually say there's 3 pieces of that design element, whatever it is, represented in each space. And one of the things that is going to anchor our design is the color black. And so you're going to see black more than you do currently in your own space. And that's because we want to ground the design. We want it to make each piece can kind of point back to either the teak or black. And somehow then we have to weave it into these cupboards, right? These cupboards that are more modern and that are just a little bit more fancy. So keep that in mind as I'm explaining the designs to you. And then, of course, these designs, how it works is what I want you to do is I want you to take a look at them, see which of the two for the living room you're gravitating more towards, and then choose one. And then as you choose one, we can modify then like product for that space. So if you're thinking, oh, I don't like that color of couch, but I like that couch, we can kind of modify that way. Or I don't like the accent colors, let's think about different ones. But we take it down from two examples that I'm trying to keep very different ish, because the theme is still national park, honor the outdoors, honor your story, keep them different, but then also similar enough in theme, I guess is what I'm saying. Okay, are you ready? Enough of me talking. So let me share my screen. You will be getting this, by the way, to look at on your own. You don't just have to keep looking at this video, but this is your living room. And the theme here is, I mean, we're doing an ode to national parks. So every element that was chosen in here, from color to metal to texture to concrete to stone to wood, it all can be tied back to that theme of we like to travel, we like to explore, we like to hang outdoors. Now I know that you guys were thinking that you wanted a little bit more seating in front of the TV, or that crossed across the room from the TV. So I'm trying a sectional here. This is a 90-inch across, and about we can do, this one is a 90-inch down, but we can get it custom built to do 105. I think you have space for that. But the reality here in your space is that you have a long, narrow space. So we can't really go too far. I don't feel comfortable going further than 90 inches because it's going to kind of make that space feel congested rather than open and flowing. You can see this little sideboard here is, my recommendation is to have it tucked right to, if I'm facing the fireplace, to the right. And this is going to be a key helper to make sure that the TV console is not a bully. That little guy right there, that extra storage, is going to be helpful to kind of balance out and make your TV console feel intentional rather than a really pretty dominant piece. And then we have the black that is starting to anchor. So we have black in the iron of the TV console, the legs here. This is like a ceramic lamp, and then blacks here, of course. Your fireplace mantle is so lovely, but it needs something bigger and a little bit that fills up the space just a little bit more. So my recommendation in this design is to have a large mirror and then to style that area. Some of these little pieces here, of course, you can shop directly from the site, but also this could be an opportunity for me to go out for you during the personal shopping time and procure those items that way. And then we have down here at the corner, before we get into the TV viewing area, we have a side chair, maybe for you, Jen, in case you're not really wanting to cozy up and watch the football game, but be present in the room. And then we have the colors kind of flowing and coordinating throughout. We've got lots of earth tones in this design. These are really fun pieces. And you can, by the way, you can link here. Let me just pull this up. I'm going to click that piece, see what happens. Oh, no. Let me move me. Oh, here we go. Down here, if you scroll down the page, you can see what each product is, where it's from, how much it costs, and you can literally purchase it right from there, right from the site. Okay, let me go to the next design. This is still very natural, but this is more, hey, we're Pacific Northwesters. We do woods and water. And so the color palette changed just a little bit. Now, what you want to keep in mind is that if our color palette is going to be kind of the natural earthy tones in the living room, we want that to carry over into the dining room. Same thing as if we're going to choose kind of more blues and natural, we want it to carry into the dining room. Um, these couches, this couch would be the recommendation to stay kind of near where your current couch is. And then we've got two really cozy chairs, excuse me, cozy chairs opposite the TV, a large, really neutral rug to anchor the space. And then you can see those repeated design elements. Again, the wood tones here, even on the bottom of the couch, these are intentional choices to not only mimic the style and the shape of your TV console, but then also that wood. We want to really make sure that that wood is playing nicely with everything else in the space. So we're bringing it in again in a little side table. This is a storage bench. It's actually not a bench, it's actually a coffee table. But I'm recommending that it would be placed in that little cubby right next to your fireplace and styled as if it's a bench. And I think it's sturdy enough that you could sit on it. But this opens up, so you can put your blankets in there. You can put board games, things that your family would use when you're gathering around this fun and big coffee table in order to have game night, all that. And then again, your mantle is really, no matter which design we do or what we choose, art or mirror, it is commanding something larger than what was currently there. So we want to think width-wise and height-wise. Now, one rule of thumb, and if you guys have something at home you want to use, let's do it. But one rule of thumb we want to think about is how wide your mantle is, and then we want about the width of it to be about 2/3 of the width of that mantle. So something kind of big. And I chose abstract here because you do have several landscape pieces, and of course I'm keeping all of those wonderful national park ones in the dining room. So we don't necessarily want to inundate the design in every single space with landscape. We want to mix it up a little bit, but we want to tie it all together. So you can see this is Hood River. By the way, side note, I think, Jen, you mentioned that you have sourced a lot of your things from Etsy. Am I remembering that correctly? This is where this one is from, this Hood River painting. This is such a fun place to buy your art. I love it because, art is one of the best ways you can personalize your design. You can really tell your story without like putting a stamp on the wall saying, hey, I was here. But this indicates, hey, I was here. This place is meaningful to me. But there's so many really great mini boutiques on Etsy that you can pull from and source your product there. Friends, if you are ready for design breakthrough, just like Jen, if you are ready to take action, take one step forward, and to finally say, I am ready to live in a home that I love coming home to. I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to design well. I'm ready to have a little bit of hand holding, a little bit of inspiration, and a whole lot of cheerleading. Then today's your lucky day, if that is you. Because today is Heart Day, and I want to show my appreciation for all of you who have been listening, who have been thinking, I want to work with Danny. I want to make those changes happen, but I'm a little scared. I want to take away that fear. I want to take it away, and I want to offer you 14% off of any of my design services. 14. It doesn't sound like a lot, but when I did the math, it's actually quite a nice little change. So I encourage you to go to my website, figandfarmathome.com, browse design done for you, browse design coaching. Any of those services are offered at 14% off today until Monday. I have several different services, from least bit of handholding to a whole heck of a lot of handholding, just like I did for Jen. Go check it out. Tell a friend. And if you want to know which one's right for you, book a free 15-minute discovery call. You'll find that on my website as well. All right, friends, I cannot wait to meet you. I cannot wait to work with you, and I cannot wait to help you transform your home into a home you love. I'll see you soon. Hey, real quick before you go, if you learned something new or found value in today's podcast, would you head over to iTunes to Fig and Farm at Home and leave a review and subscribe to the show? That would be awesome. And if you'd like to connect with my community of mamas who are learning to be intentional storytellers within their own homes, join us at bit.ly/design101 group. There's always more room at the table. See you soon.